Please join me in welcoming Nancy.
So I'm just took one little small swath off the top of Japanese pickling. We have pickling and we have preserving, but those words don't actually represent the true meaning. We have tsukemono equals pickling, but it's not really equal. Tsukemono means putting something on, tsukeru, and so putting on something things that have had something put onto them. And those can often be like a really quick pickle, 30 minutes, and that's what we're doing today. Preserving typically does involve some fruits, but like a Western idea of preserves, you sort of start thinking the jam thing. It's more, I think more of the preserving in Japan is done with fish, but then also some vegetables and fruits, okay? But we can't do that today. We're gonna do some quick pickles. They're super easy, they're incredibly delicious. I will say they're most delicious if you use the best ingredients possible. And I think that's kind of a no-brainer. They're using preserved foods to quick pickle, so that's where the preserving comes in. Of course, salt's not preserved, but this was made slowly by a guy I know in Wajima. And the sweetness of the salt comes out when you take the crystals off slowly. And so and all this stuff is going to get passed around. You can taste it. So the salt is sweet and salty, and so it makes it really gentle. We use Malden today in the stuff that you're going to eat. So we have 4 salts in Japan. Salt. These other things all have salt in them, of course. Oops, I lost my top to the miso. Soy sauce. This soy sauce is made in our town. It's organic, made from Japanese beans, and aged 2 years, cedar barrels, all organic. And mostly I know a lot of the people that grow the soybeans for these and the wheat. You can buy this soy sauce here in this bottle, Nama Shoyu. I bought it at Tokyo Fish in Berkeley. It's not always taken care of very well. And like some of the bottles of Tokyo Fish were weeping. I didn't tell them yet, what can you do? So I bought the non-weepy one, just because I wanted to compare it and see. And I was worried I was going to use it all up. I was at Stanford a couple days ago and I used almost the whole bottle. But we are bringing this in. I'm involved in a project, a Japan brand project. The Japanese government's trying to better the ingredients that you can get here. And then also, of course, EU and the rest of the world, but the US is the first target, okay? So, and then miso, you guys all know miso. Sadly, you still are not getting good miso here. I don't know why. This is also coming. This is sold by the same people that sell this, Goldmine Natural Foods. Your best source for Japanese foods is macrobiotic sites, because they came in the early 70s, and George Osawa and Kushi, those people, Muso, and they brought in the best products. And unfortunately, the Japanese grocery stores sort of missed the boat on that. And so their products the artisanal products were not really so much available at the time. And then there's so many generations off, they haven't really added artisanal products very much in my viewpoint. So the miso around you get has some additives like alcohol. The Goldmine one, it's the same thing, but it's oxidized, so it's super dark. Doesn't mean it's bad. These things never go bad, they just darken. Even if they have a sell date or best by date, forget about it. It's good for 100 years. Then this is fish sauce. Japanese fish sauce is the best in the world, hands down. I've tasted it against the really good Italian colatura, and it's better. You'll get to taste this around, and we're putting it. But the ones you tasting, it's things that you can taste at Google, and so you're going to try to compare what you're getting and then also what could be you getting. So that's a little intellectual exercise for you. It's not to say you can't have it, but And I'll introduce those products after. Okay, so salt here. The first thing we're going to do is dashi. I will tell you the sad story is that I don't use induction very much, but I think I can handle this. The sad story is that I got it. This, I'm on top of it. I have a Stanford degree, BA. It's okay. I can do it. Can't do my taxes, but I can do this. Okay, we're going to put a piece of kombu in, how many cups of water did I put? I can't remember. Anyway, 4 cups of water, and you bring it to almost simmer. Then you're going to take the kombu out, and then you're going to put a couple handfuls of katsuobushi in. Katsuobushi is dried, smoked, dried, fermented skipjack tuna. Unfortunately, what you get here has never been the 6-month period of smoking and drying. No, drying and fermenting. They're all smoked, but the drying, fermenting extra 6 months is only from the whole ones, which is in my bag. We'll jump it out later, okay? And you'll get to taste this too. I'll pass it around, and I'll pass the whole one too, but it's in there. And it's a 16-minute process, but 60% of the Japanese who actually make dashi, I mean, you gotta factor that in. 60% of the ones that actually make dashi, they use powdered. So food traditions are eroding rapidly, and that's part of why the Japanese government is trying to get better Japanese products out to the other areas to sort of like, to make Japanese feel like maybe it's a reverse exportation thing that happens commonly in Japan. The kombu, again, there's all sorts of levels of kombu. This one I got from a friend who got it. He's a restaurant friend, and so it's even better than what I can get at the fish market. And you have pretty good kombu here too at Google, so good for that. This is going right now. I'm going to make the little broccoli pickle. Everything you make for Japanese food is, you want it to be bite-sized for chopsticks. So, and we use these I say we, but not many people in Japan are actually using these anymore. The modernization of the knives has happened as well. This is like a $25 knife that my local knife maker makes. I bring them I bring a lot of them for doing cooking classes with students because I want them to, pick them up and feel them. I'll leave it over here. Maybe we won't pass it around, but you can just feel how soft, how light it is, and so you don't get tired. You can use it as a paring knife, and also, what's the point of it is it has a very sharp, thin blade, and so you're not cutting the cells you're not smashing the cells of the vegetable. It's just cutting down. We cut down straight down like that, and so you're not bruising the cells. And because we have a farm, so we want to be nice to the vegetables and honor them. So typically I would use some of this. I don't know this broccoli as well, so I don't know where it came from, so I'm going to use part of it and leave this here. And then we're going to boil that because I grew up in California, boil everything for 3 minutes. That's just the way we do it. I think all the grandmas in Japan, they're going to be doing it way longer. 3 minutes, Noelle? Yes. Can you go? Oh, actually, I'm not timing this yet, so I got it on my iPhone. No problem. That's what it's good for. Okay. So that's boiling. This is almost. What I chose was a representational. We got a miso thing, a fish sauce thing, soy sauce thing, and umeboshi salt thing. So the broccoli is cooking. The dashi's almost going. The next thing, we're sort of jumping around because that's what you do when you're cooking. Turnips, the tops at this time of year, they're not so pretty because of the weather. And I often use them This time we're not going to use them. If you use them, salt massaging them is good, but so I trim off for this case, I'm going to trim off the tops. And again, the pretty ones I would use today, just not to confuse things because it wasn't used in the main recipe, I won't. And then we have a little brush called a tawashi. It's made from coconut fibers. And again, I usually bring them, but I really pared down on this trip. And because I tend to have too many things and then all of a sudden I don't have enough. But the tawashi is a little, you've probably seen him, but the turtle brand is it's the only one that's actually made with natural fibers. And you can find them, I think, on Amazon, actually. And then you scrub the turnips with that brush. We don't peel turnips, daikon. City people peel, but farmer people are not going to peel because they've picked them just recently. Broccoli's done. Yes. Katsuobushi next. Dashi. This thing. So now we don't have a drought in Japan, so it's a water country, yeah. So I sometimes forget about like the drought situation in California, but we would normally run cold water over these, but since I'm actually probably using about the same amount of water in this little ice bath. It's a kind of huge ice bath. So I'm just going to chill them down the ice bath. Turn this off. All right. And the kombu, the point of not boiling it, like we're not the kombu police. The boiling it brings out the nebe, the sliminess, which is it's not a big deal. You just don't try not to boil it. But there are some soups, some nabe, that we do just leave the kombu in, so it's not set in stone, minus. So you can see how simple this dashi is, and you just kind of wonder, why would people use powdered? Because powdered, as you I'm sure know, has the obligatory MSG in it, like all Japanese food in the supermarket. I think every single one that has salt in it contains MSG. They haven't gotten the memo about that. But anyway. Okay, so dashi's happening the dashi's going to mitigate the fish sauce and the soy sauce. Okay, so I already prepared dashi, so it's here. So we're going to do the celery first. Now, celery is not really Japanese, but my husband sometimes grows it, and my friends grow it. Not all Japanese like it. You know what we don't have is a little strainer. Do you have one more strainer, Noelle, for the broccoli? Or you know what, I could just put it in a towel. That's fine. I got it. Am I out of camera? Am I all right? Am I screwing it all up? Sorry, it's cold. Okay. So, but we have a thing called udo. And udo is something we typically do like as kimpira with soy sauce. But so I developed a recipe using celery for my first book, and it was absolutely delicious. And so when my friend told me, my friend in Noto, which is on the peninsula to the left, so what's that? West of Tokyo. Really amazing place. Anyway, he told me about this recipe for making little morning pickles with daikon. And I made it with celery because I had some really great celery. And it was so amazing. So that's what we're going to make today. And anything crunchy like this. So daikon, celery, turnips, that kind of thing. And we use these little chile japonesa. It's in between like a Thai chile or arbol. It's not as dark as the arbol, and not as big. And we break them into, and arbols are a little bit thicker walled. So, can you see, where can they see? You break them into pieces so that you don't, sort of largish pieces and not too much. So you don't, if they're chopped too finely, then it's gonna like infuse all in the celery. And there might be there's maybe a little more hot heat to the celery pickles than I would have put in, but I think they're still really delicious. And the fish sauce was the best Vietnamese one you can get is the three crabs, according to Bruce Cost. Sorry, Japanese is the way to go. And so we don't really have a measuring thing. So I suppose I could use this tablespoon. It's 1-to-1 dashi and fish sauce. So I'll just like 1, 2. This kind of thing, I don't wing it. I do. So it's a little bit hard to measure, but I'm up to the task. 1, 2. I used to be a bartender. I can figure it out. Okay. I'm going to put this back in the mix of tasters. Okay, and then you put it in a Ziploc. Whenever you put something in a Ziploc, remember the zip is, you don't want to get that wet. And you just stick it in the Ziploc for 30 minutes, and it's good to go. You don't want it longer than 30 minutes unless you taste it and you feel like it needs more fish sauce. Also, if you have a strong fish sauce, we did 1 part fish sauce to 2 parts dashi because the fish sauce is strong. So the whole point of the dashi is to mitigate the fish sauce. So if you're going to do somehow you wanted to leave it for a really long time, I would either take off the soaking or you add a lot more dashi. Okay, and they can also taste that too, I think. But if we stick it in the fridge for now, yeah. This is done. I don't know what we do with the dirty dishes. Pass it to you? No, okay, I won't do that. All right, this is not boiling either. There's no sweet spot on these. It's either too boily or not boiling enough. All right, then the broccoli also needs to go for about 30 minutes. So we're gonna have you taste it maybe before the 30-minute mark, but I think it's a good idea to try to taste some of these with the official stuff. Bowl. Ice, we don't want ice. Oh, yeah, and these I might use, so I'll hold on to them just in case. Yeah, thanks. All right, this one is 3 parts dashi to 4 parts soy sauce. And some more of these little japonesa chile. Again, I don't want to go too far. Okay, that's done. Okay. Okay, I'll go. Whoa, 1. But you can see how simple this is, and really good with Western food too. 1. But also it's so this soy sauce, obviously it's more expensive. The Nama Shoyu, I think I priced it out that it's 3 times expensive as the least expensive Kikkoman. Now Kikkoman does not do a bad job, but they definitely are not using non-GMO soybeans. It'd be kind of impossible. Okay, here's another Ziplocker. Because there aren't enough non-GMO soybeans in the United States to supply Kikkoman. But does anybody have any Kikkoman? My brother-in-law works for him, so I shouldn't say that actually. But it's a little bit of a gray area. But they at least do ferment their soy sauce for 6 months. They have an accelerated fermentation process, so they put it in a room. The whole point of the fermentation is that it needs to go through. We talk about water on the iPhone. Don't want that. Needs to go through. Sorry. 2 summers, because the fermentation arc happens in the summer, because that's when all the activity comes. Okay, so what Kikkoman or the Yamaso, those kind of companies do is they leave the they leave the soy sauce in a summer-like environment for 6 months, and they use kind of a super koji. Koji is the fermentation element material that. So they kind of speed it along, but so it's not as bad as one would think. It's actually, they do a fairly good job. But for 3 times the money, this is like way worth it, in my mind. Okay, so those 2 are done. Just a little bit of waiting game. And then this is kind of an instant pickle because the turnip, okay, you're gonna salt it a little bit. And again, if you use like a table salt thing or really fine sea salt, the salt's gonna get into the vegetables immediately, and so you really want to back off on it. There's nothing to squeeze out really. It's just getting off the residual salt. And so this kind of salt, unfortunately, we're gonna not use it. You know, you could use it for something else. Then this umeboshi is one that I made from our ume on the tree. It's sour plum in English, but it's actually an apricot family. And you brine it, you salt them, and then the brine comes up. Then you you dry them outside 3 days. You wait for the sunny weather. And then they stay, again, for a long time. So commercial umeboshi are much stronger. They have a little more vinegar element for preservation. We don't put shiso in ours, but umeboshi, because shiso makes the ume quite like hot pink, and that color sort of puts me off. I mean, I like it in clothes, but not in my food. But the ume is naturally, it starts green, but then ends up this color, which is sort of a softy, pinky mauve, and I think it's a really pretty color. So I didn't really feel like I needed the shiso. So again, this is like one of those, how much umeboshi you put in depends on your mood. That's maybe too much, but maybe some people can taste this too. And this is the katsuobushi, the real deal katsuobushi. Again, if you're feeling it, like puts lots of katsuobushi in. My son shaved it for me at the restaurant he was working. They have a shaving machine, so it was shaved right before New Year's. So it's lost some of its, oomph, but still. Let's put it all in. Why not? And then, because it's so good. And then a little bit of soy sauce for, roundness. I really don't like the word umami because it was made up by Ajinomoto to promote their lovely MSG product. But it does really add, there is sort of a real phenomena of what it does. So this is done. I didn't taste it, I bet I taste it right. I think it's good. Okay, that's done. Those 2 are done. The last thing is, these are kind of magic. Just a second. These are all done. This will just consolidate. Yep, that's done. Good. All right. And, this is done. And the miso eggs came from my husband. I put the soy sauce eggs in the first book. And I followed my husband's method. He marinates hard-boiled eggs in soy sauce in the refrigerator for his little road trips. And he does it for days and days, and they keep becoming almost cheesy. But I discovered that actually I liked it for 4 hours only. And then I did it with miso, and it was so amazing. It's been like the most popular little appetizer on all of the tours. So you basically, you take the miso, you flatten it in your hand. You don't need this whole, oh, it's too late now. It was completely encased in miso. On these restaurant things, we never have quite enough miso to do that. I mean, I have access to lots and lots of miso because I also make it. And because the egg is weeped out a little bit, it's a little bit softer. The miso you have access to, some of the better misos, their flavor is excellent, but they're super stiff. And so they're going to be a little bit harder to deal with, but their flavor is really good. Like Mr. Miso Master, whatever his name is. South River is maybe medium consistency. Anyway, you just sort of smooth around the egg. And even if it's not all touching, because it is a lot of miso, and you guys, it's more expensive than for me. But you can reuse it a number of times. It's better we have farm eggs, and so the eggs, the pieces come off. But you could also reuse it for soup if you need to. It's better with just the eggs. Anyway, you take off the miso after 4 hours, and then they'll hold. And you never wash, of course, the miso off. Save this in Tupperware or a Ziploc. Just a second here. Washing hands. Thank you, Didi. Making a mess here. And then you slice it. Could I have a little plate, maybe? You want to get the egg. Thanks. You want to get the egg done, but not overdone. It's a very kind of hard. In our house, it's 9 minutes. Here, the eggs were cold, so I think it went to 11. So typically for cooking, you want to use room temperature eggs. Of course, we have our own eggs, so we never refrigerate them, from the get-go. So, and it's not good to put them in and out and in and out and out. So when you want to use them, just return to room temperature. They should have a little center of wetness. And then, I didn't put this in the book, but, oops, cancel. A little bit of 7-spice powder, shichimi tongarashi, is really pretty and delicious on the eggs. So if we cut these a little bit more, people could also taste this one. I don't know if it tastes different. Dashi's done. I'll use this for the chef's class. And then typically you can reuse this kombu and the katsuobushi for this one. You can dry up in a pan and use it for little sprinkles on rice. Add some soy sauce, some aromatics. Kombu you can add to miso soup. You can add it. You can saute it with. You can simmer it with soy sauce and meating. There's various methods. But those are the 4 things you're going to taste with slightly different ingredients. The caveat.
I'm so confused about the difference between koji and miso. Is koji the thing that starts the miso fermenting?
Yeah, koji is a spore. The confusion comes that koji is a spore, but it's also typically it's a spore that inoculates rice or wheat or barley to make miso. For soy sauce, it's inoculated on wheat and soybeans. for sake, it inoculates on the rice. It's a spore that inoculates a grain, okay? But then the confusion comes is we often talk about the inoculated grain as koji. Well, it's actually rice koji. It's actually barley koji. It's actually something koji. But that's where the confusion comes.
When I go to the store, if it says koji miso, that's just miso.
It means miso it's just miso. It means it maybe has a higher concentration of koji. So white miso has more koji in it. Yeah. The problem is the labeling becomes perverted or something verted when it comes here. And for various reasons. The Japanese thinking they're making it more understandable, or Americans thinking they're making it more understandable, and somehow it's not at all understandable. I agree. Which is a big problem about, okay, I'll ask you guys. So some of us think that this is a really super cool label and we want to send the ingredients as is. My branding friend says, no, all the products should look like the yuzu bottle so that they're all like Thai Kitchen, all discernible. It's like such a conundrum, but anyway. If you have any thoughts on that, just email me.
But when you do some of the preserving, do you do anything beforehand to kind of balance out the sour that happens in the process, or any of the fermentation that happen in the process?
It's kind of a big question. So he's wondering, if you're doing, so you want the sourness for for the lacto fermentation, and so that's what you're looking for. And if you put too much salt on, you don't get the sourness. So in process, there's always a percentage of salt you put in for the Napa Cabbage pickles, Hakusai, or Takuan. But Takuan has Rice Bran, raw, non-toasted Rice Bran, and so it's a little bit harder to get the brine up. Fish is just heavily salted, and then the adjustment comes after the thing is done. So if your thing came out, whether it's Nukazuke pickles or Takuan or Hakusai, it came out and it's not as salty as you wish, then you drizzle soy sauce on. If it's too salty, you might leach it out with a little water, but it's a little bit difficult with some of these things. With fish, totally you're going to leach it out with water. Or you're going to soak it in sake leaves to suck up. Sake leaves sucks up the salt. That's a pretty common thing for fish or a vegetable thing.
Do you have a good source for umeboshi paste
I think that gold mine is where you really want to go. There's a woman in San Francisco who's selling it, and I bought it for a friend because I couldn't find mine. He's looking for umeboshi paste. You're not going to want me to tell you this, but it's actually not so hard to make them yourself if you catch the season in June. And I don't know how easy it is to get, organic ume. There's a lot of people in the area. I keep hearing about somebody. There was a lot of Japanese farmers in the 1900s. The Japanese came. They planted all these, and there's a lot of trees that are not being harvested. But you have to buy word of mouth. But frankly, in Japan, I make apricot jam or a raspberry jam from non-organic fruit because my tree's not fruiting, and I really want jam, and I have organic sugar, so sort of it's a trade-off, But otherwise, gold mine. The one in San Francisco is really expensive, but umeboshi will be expensive. It will be, because it's kind of precious in a way, Yeah.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Welcome.
Please join
Thank you for
me.
coming.
Thank you for coming.